Happy Monday, Sooner Nation. Welcome to the Sooner Surge podcast that tells it like it is. Batten down the hatches. This winter storm's about to hit Oklahoma, and it does not look like it's going to be one for the weary. It's going to, sounds like, do exactly what forecasters have been saying it's going to do. In fact, maybe even be worse in regards to how much snow people are going to get. But yeah, it's coming, and it's not only the storm there, but in Norman, Oklahoma, Hunter, just some strange things going on in Norman.
Strange things. Nothing's going on. I mean, the news of the day is son of a WWE Hall of Famer is transitioning from wrestling to football. I mean,
well, I thought it was I thought it was strange the article that was put about Porter Moser's buyout.
Oh, I mean,
about the day
heat like that happening, they get to those requests of open records and put it out there, and also put out that it's a little bit higher than people thought it was going to be by about.
But they have that money if they want it.
I mean, they do, but I don't think they're going to buy them out.
So on the Porter Moser side of things, you think he's the coach next year then, if he doesn't get a job somewhere else?
Probably so right now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that is the worst loss you can imaginably have. I mean, if you're trying to come up with a crazy scenario, what is the absolute worst loss you can have on the schedule for Oklahoma? It was that LSU game. The game was over. You're up by 2 possessions with 24.4 seconds left against a 1-10 team.
Hey,
you can't explain it. They did.
It's abysmal. And I see this comment from Sooner fans, so let's get right into it, because if you haven't checked out the video that we released this morning around 10 o'clock, Dari Noka joined Jay and I this morning here on the Sooner Surge, and we basically gave him the floor to talk about the rant that he had on Saturday, and he said a lot of interesting things. And Sooner fan, I see your comment that he needs to realize it's not the fans' fault. Dari, if you go back and watch, never said it's the fans' fault as to why OU's football team and basketball team is as bad as it's been. He did not say it was the fans' fault there. Now, he did call out the fans, and there's got to be some agreement, because, Hunter, I've said it on here. The football team, even outside of a couple of games, its fans are showing up for the experience, and they're not very raucous. They're just there.
The environment, and again, it's with SEC football, it's a little different, but I would think if you're going to rank environments of toughest places to play in terms of fan engagement, rowdiness, as Porter Moser says on the football side of things, OU's probably on the bottom half of the conference, which isn't necessarily the end of the world. Like, maybe it's not as wide of a
bad environment
as there's so much room for improvement. They are by no means the worst. And again, you look at the schools that you're putting them up against, those are some of the best environments in college or professional sports. But there is room for improvement. And yeah, the arena isn't good, but that's not the only reason why fans aren't showing up. Hey, Eric, they don't play on Tuesday night, so change the day there. The fan support for Oklahoma sports, when you look at the SEC as a whole, there's only one sport that we haven't seen it yet, but would imagine Oklahoma's going to be kind of leading the pack, and that's Love's Field for softball. Everything else they're trailing, I mean, pretty far behind, in my opinion. I agree with
they're way behind. And Hunter, during football season, and by the way, I saw the comment about LNC. Yeah, even Dari said it's a dump. But hey, in football, you had the Tennessee game. It was the night game. You had the Alabama night game. A lot of it, we talked on here. Steve Stutzman talked that, I mean, it was an okay tailgate, but it's nothing like what you're seeing across the conference. Is the point? The comparison there is what the comparison is. Now, to say OU basketball team is losing because of lack of fan base, no, that's not what's being said.
No, I mean,
Eric, I'm not going to do this tonight. Stop with the nobodies. Because I'm not a nobody and I watch it. It's annoying to hear the nobody all the time. It's not true, dude.
In every fan base, or especially college athletics, there's going to be a portion of fans that only care about the one particular sport, that being football. And I think that's where Eric lies. But there's also a very good chunk of the fan base that cares about everything, even though they're maybe not going to games for whatever reason. They still keep up with it. They still watch it on TV every time they're on. So I wouldn't say it's nobody cares.
No, we said this during football season. The fact that they have to have someone trying to get the crowd engaged is a problem. Now,
I disagree. I disagree with that one. But
Hunter,
everywhere the Thunder has an MC. I mean, everywhere has an MC. Like, I don't think that's the reason why. Like, it's.
But the Thunder fans are knowledgeable basketball fans. They know when to be loud.
Yeah, I get that part, but I wouldn't blame it on the MC, like having to have somebody say something. Like, that's not the issue. But
no, my point is, Hunter, that I think OU relies on that too much. Like the fan base, they literally won't get loud on their own very much. It's just not very good. And Jay said it starts with the students. It does.
Yeah, and I don't know the reason as to why students are no longer going to games. I don't get it. Like, I don't. It doesn't make any sense because, I mean, you look, especially, I've talked a lot about fraternities and sororities. I'm not in either, but it's a big thing at OU. It's a big thing across the SEC. And, I mean, this year especially, you saw a lot of social media stuff about Greek life now being an SEC school and how big that is for all the different programs at OU. Like, all those other schools, they care about sports. They show up. Like, why is that not the case at OU? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Hunter, if I'd ask you this, because I see the comment by insured by Big, I disagree. Just because OU sells out their softball games doesn't mean they're a softball school. OU is still a football school. Like, football runs everything else. Football is king at OU. You can't say they're a softball school. Now, the softball program is elite. They have a great fan base. That doesn't mean that football isn't still king, guys.
Correct.
It's almost like OU fans are jealous that softball's good because it's taken away from their football team. What?
I don't know how you could be jealous by witnessing one of the best dynasties in team sports, especially at the college level. I mean, they're in that very small category of collegiate dynasties. I mean, they won 4 straight national championships, a senior class that won a national championship every year, or 4. Some of them had 5 because of the COVID stuff, but 4 straight national championships. If OU was
winning in other sports, we wouldn't be talking about this.
No, if they were winning in football and winning in basketball, nobody would be saying, oh, they're a softball school, even though that's what they're best at. Yeah, they're best at it because it's an absolute dynasty right now, and they're a large portion as to why the game has grown as much as it has.
And if the basketball team would just have about 2 or 3 more wins, no one would even be talking about that right now because they'd be in the big dance.
What's up?
And I know, Eric, I know you've never been wrong because you said it, but you were actually wrong in your comment because you said nobody cares. And in the same comment, you said only about 800 people watch.
Hey,
800 is more than nobody. I guess
Hey,
for the first time, Eric's been wrong.
I was trying to follow along with this as I was getting ready to get on here, but I think part of this stuff in the discussion isn't really what we're talking about. Listen, and what Dari's talking about. When you say this stuff like that, a lot of people don't care about gymnastics. I think the deal is we're comparing it to other SEC schools.
That's what I was saying earlier, Jay.
Other SEC schools are showing up for gymnastics. OU's not.
And yeah, if you watched
comparable
LSU Friday night Heights, as Dari referred to, they had 13,000 people there. LSU won that meet as well, beat the number 1 team in the country. So it's on a different level than the SEC.
It's a different level. That's what it is. It's just a different level.
Sports. I mean, really, for every sport in the SEC, it is hands down the best conference in basically every sport that the conference offers.
Well, it's the saying for the SEC is it just means more. It doesn't look like it does to a lot of OU fans. I think that's the comparison to. This has nothing to do with just OU. This is a comparison to SEC teams in the sports we have mentioned: gymnastics, basketball. Everybody knows OU shows up for football. They do, and I don't really.
But they're not raucous, Jay.
No, but I don't want to spend the whole time talking about fans.
I don't either because what Porter Moser has put on the court has been bad. There's nothing to be excited about. So you can't even.
Yeah,
it's hard to.
I heard you talking about the buyout earlier. Were y'all talking about that or something with Porter?
I just said basically I think Hunter doesn't think they're going to buy him out at all, even going into next year. I do.
Here's the deal. I know that number I think was like 7.5 on the article today, but if you got to remember, if he takes another, like if they let him go and he gets another job, he doesn't get that much of it. He would have to not coach.
That is correct. Yes.
So it's really not $7.5 million. It's like 2.5.
I don't think
unless he goes into TV. If he goes into TV, it's more.
Yeah.
Hey, and sure, I agree. OU wasn't SEC ready. That's exactly what we're talking about. I agree with that. That's what we've been talking about. They're not.
And I think it was 918 that asked about the buyouts. Did Josie put those in place because he didn't want to lose coaches to the SEC? You know, it's an interesting point. And if Josie thought that Porter Moser and BV are the guys for sure, maybe that's why. It's still too much money. It's still way too much.
Yeah, buyouts are one of those balancing things because you want to try, especially, I mean, you see some of the coaching cycles the last few years, really in any sport, football, basketball in particular. I mean, coaches are leaving schools for other jobs more often than they really have before. So you want some security there to try to prohibit that, but it's a double-edged sword of, okay, if they don't perform like you think they're going to, then you're in a tough financial position of having to decide, okay, do we continue on this trajectory of it not going well just because you don't want to have to pony up that money? And again, another thing to note with these buyouts, it's not paid immediately. It's paid
they do it over time.
Of the remainder of the contract. So it's not $7.65 million if they were to fire them tonight to write a check for. It's over 3 years for that.
Yeah, softball, someone said, is softball SEC ready? Yeah, they are, but they're winning everything and they're selling out everything. There's not an empty seat at softball.
But I don't want
to. Right here, it falls on the administration, and it falls on each individual sport, in my opinion, and the leaders of those sports.
Germ, you got to realize on the softball though, the softball crowd is a different crowd. It's not your students. It's a totally different.
I agree, Jay.
It's different.
That's
the way across the country, though.
For the most
way across the country.
For the most part.
Yeah, it's just a different crowd, man. It just is. So, you know what? The Porter Moser stuff, I don't care what the buyout is. If they don't make the tournament, I think they have to make a move. You have to bite the bullet.
I agree that they
You
need
have
to.
to.
I just don't necessarily think they will. I mean, I was telling Jerm earlier, that is the worst imaginable loss you can have in a game that you absolutely cannot lose. The game was basically in the bag, and they found a way to lose it. I mean, at that point, I mean, he's still the head coach. I would imagine that he's probably still going to be head coach this time next season.
It's worse for a program to fire a coach. I agree with this. I agree with you, insured by Big. I agree with you. And that's why I think Brent Venables for Oklahoma, it needs to work out. I think that'd be better for Oklahoma if it works out. I'm with you on that. It just needs to work out this year.
Sooner WX. No, I'll tell you what it is, Sooner WX. Again, we just said this. OU softball's been winning for a while. OU softball has so much consistency. Patty Gasso's been there. There's been no changes really within the program. It's been consistent. It's been a well-oiled machine. That's why it was more SEC ready. That's one of the reasons.
And this is interesting by Kayla, and I agree too. Porter may be ready to move on to a new job. It can't be fun for him. It's
but
not.
Why would you move on?
No, because Germ, like when you get
$7 million to not move on.
I mean, when you get fired, it's a very bad look. If you're able to move on to where you can take a job elsewhere, that's much better. Even if you're losing a little bit of money there, because one, you still get to coach. Two, you save your image of you weren't fired.
I agree.
You took another job. I mean, again, it's not $7.5 million right up front. It's still over 3 years. I mean, he could take a job somewhere else and probably get a good chunk of that contract at any mid-major program right now.
And hey, Eric, you may be right on this. Here's the issue, though. I don't think you're going to have losing seasons in softball for a while. I just think they have a machine over there in softball. And when Patty leaves, and if JT got, I think they got. It's been good.
Real quick, a bad season for softball is probably 20 losses, and you're still above 500.
Yeah, but it would be a bad season. Would be not
a bad
not
season
making
for softball.
not making
if they don't make the Women's College World Series, man.
Yeah, not making it Oklahoma City would be bad.
People wouldn't like that for a few years. Hey,
and you're right. There would be people probably say, "I'm not going as much." There's part of that. I get it.
Winning does help, Jay. Hey,
yeah,
insured by Big says at LSU we're stuck with Kelly for at least 4 more years, no matter what. But we had to offer him that contract because he was coming into a dumpster fire when we hired him. And look, Brian Kelly came in. Of course, everyone knows when he came in and tried to do the accent, and it was a bad look, and they weren't great. But I think Brian Kelly. I love Garrett Nussmeier. Next year, man, I'm high on LSU. I really am.
Well, they got Bauer Sharp too.
They got Nick Anderson too, Jay.
I am not a Brian Kelly believer at all. I mean,
why?
Why?
He won at Notre Dame, did he not?
A national championship?
No, but he
didn't win at Natty, but he won.
Okay.
He won at Cincinnati, didn't he?
All right, but
what makes you think he won't win at LSU? That's all I want to know.
I mean, you look at the talent that he had. Right now, you look at the NFL Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. 2 out of the top 3 went to LSU. The best rookie quarterback in the NFL, LSU number 2 pick. The best wide receiver in that rookie class, Malik Neighbors, LSU wide receiver, 6th overall. You also had a wide receiver that went to Jacksonville that had a really good year. I mean, they had so much talent, and they won, 9 games? They had a Heisman campaign.
I'll take 9 games, 9 wins.
They had a Heisman campaign. I'm sorry. I get the defense was bad, but the year that Jaden Daniels had, you got to win 10 games with that team.
Hunter, here's the question.
So one more win. If he would have got, you'd have been like, he's a great coach. I mean,
Hunter, answer that question on the screen.
What?
Answer KB's question.
No, I don't. Right now, I don't think it's going to turn around. I mean, not rooting against it whatsoever. I don't. It's a tough schedule. They've continued to find ways to lose games the past couple of years that they shouldn't have lost. And this year is going to be even tougher of a schedule. I mean, you have Michigan week 2 in Norman on top of your just about as tough of a 8-game slate in the SEC you can have. And John Mateer is a great portal addition, just not sold on kind of the offensive line. And I think there needed to be more done for that offensive line when you look where they were a year ago. And really all you brought in for the offensive line was Derek Simmons, then Michael Fasusi in the recruiting class. A great recruiting class for the O-line, but with how much they struggled, that should be the type of class where you're going all out, landing just about anybody you want to address immediate needs.
Hunter, how many years has Kelly been at LSU?
Same amount of time as Brent.
Okay. Who was the coach before at LSU?
Ed Orgeron.
Okay. And he came in, and it's not like, I know he had a great offense with Jaden Daniels, but he still has to fix some things too to get his program. I mean, he has to get things going, and I think he will. I just think what he's done at Cincinnati and Notre Dame tells me, as an outside fan, not an LSU fan, just looking at from afar, that I think Kelly's going to be in the playoff. Like, I would pick him probably to be in the playoff next year or the year after. Would you not?
And yeah, I think we should open the phone lines. We're already 22 minutes into this thing. Let's open the phone lines. You guys call in and give us your take on whatever you want to talk about.
I would not pick them in the playoffs at this point.
I haven't looked at their schedule, but I mean, I think he's a good coach. I really do.
Clemson, Florida, at Ole Miss, South Carolina, at Vandy, Texas A&M, at Alabama, home against Arkansas, and at Oklahoma.
Look, I don't want to talk a lot about Brian Kelly, okay? But
yeah,
it was very cringe when he got to LSU what he did, and that turned a lot of people who don't really know Brian Kelly off of him immediately. I do think he can coach. Has it been as successful as I thought it would be at LSU? No, but it hasn't been near as bad as OU with BV. That's just it. Just hasn't.
I'm with you. I mean, I think he can coach. That's all I'm saying. I think we're just a little difference here, because I think Hunter doesn't think he's that good of a coach, and I think he's a pretty good coach. That's all it is. So,
what else is going on, guys?
What do you think about this guy that's Jacob Henry? What do you guys think about him? Did you watch him at all wrestling, Hunter?
I don't know if he has wrestled this year.
Oh, really?
Confirm that real quick.
What year is he?
He's a freshman.
Oh, okay. He's a freshman, and I think, to me, I mean, I love now true wrestlers. I love as football players. They're some of the best tacklers, have the best willpower, because it's a single sport. We're talking about a guy who I want to say size-wise, he's wrestling in the 285 group.
Yeah, heavyweight, and
but he's got to be bigger than that to play. He's got to get to
300. He didn't wrestle this past year at OU, but was a 3-star on 247 Sports as a.
It's a walk-on, so it can't be. I mean, who cares? It's a walk-on.
It's I think it's a better walk-on in terms of defensive linemen than a lot of what you can get out of walk-ons for defensive linemen. He's probably going to the WWE in a few years, considering who his dad is.
Yeah. Hey, I was going to ask a trivia question. Lane already put the name down there, but here's a trivia question for the night. You ready for it? Give me Kelly Gregg's number at OU.
That's easy. And by the way, Kelly Gregg, guys, I'm just going to say this, Lane. Teams don't have Kelly Greggs anymore, because I don't know if Kelly Greggs anymore are with the size in the SEC. Like, Kelly Gregg was elite, though. He was an elite player, but what was his size? Like 270, though?
He was bigger than that, wasn't he? I think he was bigger than that.
Man, people aren't getting the number.
I haven't seen the number.
There it is. Jay Johnson.
There it is right there. Jay Johnson got it, 97. Good job, Jay Johnson. Gets the point for the night. Good job. Hey, what about the SEC Big Ten expansion talks? I know Ross Dellinger put something out. I don't know if you got to see that or not.
Going to 9 games conference
Nine
schedule.
conference games, correct.
I'm for it.
Fine. Also, I don't know. I think last year the college football playoff put them in a tough position when you look at the SEC and only 3 teams got in.
It's going to happen again this year, probably.
Probably so. And I think it's a bad path to where you have multiple teams from the ACC getting into the college football playoff over an SEC team, 3 losses or not. I don't know. I think the interesting part of it in terms of the SEC is like if that were, I think they said it could go into effect as early as 2026 is how that kind of changes the rotation of
I wondered that too.
The conference schedule, because right now they have it set up, I think, really well to where it's home and away.
I don't like it.
Year 1, year 2.
Hate it.
And everyone else. I like that part.
I hate it. Why can't they alternate years?
Okay, so you're wanting to like you have
flip it up every year.
Okay, I get you on that.
Because
I've already said this. It should be random draw
back years. You're
ping
back-to-back
pong
years.
balls. Bring the ping pong balls right now.
Jerm, I would love to see you try to make a schedule.
I wouldn't make it. Ping pong balls, buddy.
That'd be dumb. Hey,
it's
guys.
It's not dumb. It's the most fair way there is.
Hey, Johnson, here's the thing. Right now they do because of who they've played and the teams aren't good. But there's no way to know that from year to year. The other thing is this. 9 games. If you go 9 conference games, you got to expand the playoff. If you're the
Hey, listen. If you had a
wait, Jerm, let me finish, Jerm. Let me finish. If you're going to go 9 conference games and you're not expanding the amount of teams in the playoff, what are you doing?
I would agree with you on that.
What are you doing to the SEC? You're making it harder.
Yes, you're basically punishing the conference.
Yeah,
it
makes no sense.
That's something that I know. Again, Heather Dinich talked about it. Ross Dellinger as well, back in the middle of the season about the SEC kind of pushing for auto bids for their conference and for the Big Ten. So I think that's something that's also going to come up. Yep. And then I still think it's a matter of time before they go to 16, get rid of the buys.
Then they won't go to 9.
What?
They won't go to 9 until they're guaranteed that.
Well,
or like the comment here on here, insured by Big, unless there's guarantees of more amount of SEC teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what we're getting at, is that they would need some sort of guarantee, because, I mean, you look at this year, Ole Miss, Alabama, South Carolina all got left out.
9-3.
Well, yeah, but SMU wasn't that good. They should.
No, I know what. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah. I want to ask both of you something though. You're telling me, and I'm just be honest. Don't act like, well, it won't happen. Stop it. I'm asking you personally. If we had a scheduling night every year around February 17th, and it was ping pong balls, you did it all up. You don't tell me you don't tell me that would be elite television. All the SEC programs in one spot, like the NFL draft.
Are you like
you ping pong ball your schedule? That would be amazing.
It's not the
would
NBA
you personally like it?
I like what Joe says better. I like the pod. If you're going to do, I like.
It's not going to happen. I like that.
Would you personally like it?
Jeremy, are you wanting to be entertained, or are you wanting to like have a like?
It's entertaining and fair. It's the most fair.
It's not fair.
Wait. How is that not fair? How is that not more fair than one or two guys deciding who plays who, Jay?
It's luck. Okay.
It's not one or two guys. I mean,
it's random. Hey, Jay, let me ask you something. Do you do a family Christmas drawing?
Not anymore.
Have you been in one?
Yeah.
Did you choose who gives?
No, we drew a name.
And why is that? Because
are you comparing a family Christmas drawing to
more fair, Jay?
Move on. This is so dumb.
Your comparisons, Jerm, are awful, man.
Hey, why did they do it in the NBA lottery?
Okay.
I'm comparing a schedule to a lottery. Like, seriously, it's way different.
It's the most fair is all I'm saying.
I disagree. But.
Hey, real quick, I got to say, Eric, I'm with you on this because me included, I said it for years. Give me some of those SEC boys. I want them. Okay. And I'm not the only one. Probably 90% of OU fans said, I want to play the SEC. They're talking all this smack. Let's see what happens when OU plays them. So I'm with you on that. Let's go. If you know what, though, it's kind of like if you've ever been watching from afar and you say, I could get, like, for instance, watching a basketball game, pickup game, say, let me in there. I could take these guys. And then you get in there and you're like, ooh, a lot bigger and tougher than I thought it was going to be.
Hey,
might be what's going on right now. It's
Jay
tough
and Hunter,
schedule.
who makes the schedule? Go ahead and tell me exactly how it's done.
I mean, it's the SEC offices, and I mean, there's involvement with ADs as well in terms of logistics of travel and all that to try to make it as seamless as possible.
The SEC, the conference is so close together, no one's going to get ripped off in travel.
I mean,
it's the closest conference in all of college football. The travel distance.
It's still not, wouldn't call it extremely close. I mean, when you're looking at Oklahoma and Texas to like South Carolina, like that's not a.
But you're either going to
distance, but like no, Jerm. Like I don't understand what you're going at. Like I don't know the solution for the scheduling to balance it out. I think it's pretty much impossible to make it fair for everybody because again, the conference is that good. I mean, you had Vandy upsetting the number one team in the country this past year and almost doing the spoiler a couple more times. I mean, before that was the punching bag. That was the team everyone's going to go win when they get to play Vandy. Now that's not the case. And even some of the bottom tier teams, I mean, you saw it this year. Kentucky struggled a lot. They also had some major upsets. Florida, same thing. They played spoiler to Ole Miss. Like, just I don't know what the solution is. I don't think there really is a solution, unfortunately. I think that's just part of it. Yeah,
there is a solution to make it the most fair.
I got one solution. That should be done, and it should be done ASAP. Is traditionally, you could go all the way back to history of football, guys. Vanderbilt and Mississippi State are usually bottom feeders, are they not? And Arkansas, a lot of times. No team should play all three of those teams on their schedule. Period. That should not happen.
But you can't. Jay,
Jeremy,
there are so
many saying like
there's 16 teams. When you start getting into that, though, and I think that's what happens. These guys get in a room and they say, "Here, let's give OU these." Well, now OU's got a little tougher opponent. Let's move this one over. That's dumb, in my opinion.
Well, a lot of it also was them trying to preserve as many rivalries as possible. Because there's a lot of games, even if it's not a rivalry week game and not a named rivalry per se. It's still games that both teams, both fan bases look forward to every year, and they're trying to keep those together as well. And that leads to tougher schedules for everyone involved.
Yeah, but you look at OU's schedule in the SEC the first 2 years, like
it's brutal. OU and Florida got the short straw. I mean,
let's just do what they used to do in the SEC then. Let's have two divisions. You only play your division. Set up two divisions that you think are fair and play your division opponents, and the winner of each division plays each other in the SEC championship.
That never worked.
So would you change your divisions every year based on performance?
Did they 10 years ago, Hunter?
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Guess what? You still had the issue where one of the divisions was way tougher than the other.
Yeah, it was way tougher.
That was the issue with the West versus East.
But you knew who you had to play every year. You knew who you were going to play.
Hey, you know who you're going to play now, Jerm.
Yeah. Hey, guys, real quick.
It's right.
You know who OU's playing 2 years from now?
Yeah. The teams that they didn't play this year.
Hey, the only way to actually, in my opinion,
you can disagree with me all you want, but that is true.
I get that. I know they're rotating schedule, Hunter. I get that part of it.
Hey, guys, we can argue about this. There's only one way to fix this, in my opinion. and you have to rotate every year. You cannot play the same teams back to back.
I agree with you on
That's
that.
the only way to do it because here's the deal. If you don't rotate every year, you got guys that come in, most times you can have a returning team that's pretty good. So the chance of you playing good teams back-to-back years are really good when you got that schedule. They need to switch it. It needs to be 1 year you play these teams, the next year you play the other ones. And then the third year, those teams you played at home that year, they're on the road.
That makes a lot more sense.
That's the way to fix it, in my opinion.
I think that's the only way you can really try to balance it out.
And that shouldn't be hard to do, schedule-wise. Shouldn't be hard.
So how
my whole point is they failed in scheduling, in my opinion. And Sooner WX, I don't know what your comment, if you're just trying to make me angry. I don't know how much Joe C has to do with the scheduling.
ADs have some parts to do with it, but more so logistics than anything, not.
They don't pick what they play in the conference.
No,
that's a horrible take, dude.
The commissioner's office and in Birmingham, they determine.
Hey, here's the way, in my opinion, this is the way it should be done. Every team should have a rivalry game, and most of them do. Okay, that's one game, and that's on a neutral site. Then you have
that's not how it works in the conference, though.
It is for OU Texas.
It is for most of the teams.
No, it is for 2 games.
What? Ole Miss and do they play at home and home? Ole Miss and Mississippi State.
Yes, try
it. What I'm proposing is go neutral sites on those. And then you play 4 home games and 4 road games. That's 9 games.
People would not be okay with that at all.
Who wouldn't be?
Anybody.
Oh, I think it'd be great.
Jay, programs won't be good because
and then, see, you also have the issue, like let's say for Alabama, which game do you determine as the neutral site game?
What's Auburn? Auburn.
I mean, 3rd Saturday of October.
Exactly. They lose money too. Money loss.
That's the other thing is you don't get the.
Not if you have 9 conference games, you don't lose money. That's what I'm saying.
You do lose money when you have arguably your biggest game of the year not at home ever. Anymore.
But you would have another big game at home. You'd have another big game at home.
But you can't really replace the Iron Bowl or like the Egg Bowl.
I get your point. I'm just trying to throw it out there for 9 conference games.
Hey, guys, and Hunter, you may know more than me, but on this, what do you mean he has nothing to do with scheduling? Isn't he the guy that got us in the SEC? And by the way, I know before I say this and get ripped, but kudos then for Joe C getting OU in the SEC. It was the right move. I'm not saying that it was the right move for OU being in the playoff. It was the right move. I know it doesn't look good right now. It was 100% the right move.
If it were to come out, say Oklahoma never went to the SEC, and it were to come out that they had that opportunity, and Joe C said no, that would be awful. I mean, you just can't pass up that opportunity. The amount of money that they are going to make, you're not getting that anywhere else. Like, you're just not. So,
thank you, Insured by Big. Thank you.
They're involved with non-conference scheduling. Yes, they are.
I'm not talking about non-conference.
Hey, well, here's the deal.
Who they play?
Why doesn't OU fight to get that OU Texas game in a home and home then?
Because it's tradition.
It's more money. Why wouldn't you fight for that? For the university?
It's tradition, Jay.
Why can't you?
Cotton Bowl. You just
see, it's different.
It's a tradition. It's not moving. This is ridiculous. It's not moving the goalposts.
Yeah,
for every rivalry game. It's tradition. Like you just can't change it. I mean, it's been this way for so long. You have to continue to do it. I mean, Jeremy eats Fruity Pebbles every single night. He just has.
No, it's not. I'm eating cornflakes, bud.
Witching it up, but cereal every night. There you go.
I think we got KB on the line. What's up, KB? You there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, y'all doing all right?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, I don't know what the scheduling issue is, and I don't know what the answer is either. I don't think any of them do.
There's no way to know an answer. Right
no, and I'll be the first to say Texas got a favorable schedule. However, it's funny that everybody said the SEC was tougher, but when Texas was successful, it's all because of the scheduling. I just find it hilarious, kind of.
What seriously though? I'd interested to know, what do you think as far as like, what do you think if they had OU scheduled? Because I looked at the other day, they would have probably at least one more loss. Wouldn't you agree?
Maybe, but you got to understand, we beat Alabama the year before, so I still think we beat Alabama. So that's a game so there's a wash. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I just don't know, how do you get it fair for every school? I don't know.
You don't. I don't think
it's not possible.
And I think Texas is going to be in the same boat OU is at some point. And so that's what I'm saying. That after years and years, everybody's going to have it. I mean, it's not just like they pulled it out of the air and said, we're going to screw these teams, and these teams. They're all going to be in that boat at some point in time.
I agree with you on that, KB. And real quick, like, for me at least, was not saying that Texas was only successful because of the schedule they had. I mean, Texas was a really good football team. I think they would figure it out even with a tougher schedule. But at the same time, you can also say that they had a significantly easier schedule than most conference teams.
But there were other teams that were on that schedule too and didn't play well.
Hey, and Jay, I was getting ready to say it, and I saw Eric put it in there. I was just getting ready to say it because based on Sooner WX here, what he said about the ADs. No, they improved the format, yes, maybe not the teams, but anyone who wants to complain about it not being fair for Texas and OU this year, OU should have been in the playoff last year in the Big 12. They had about the easiest schedule in the country.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, well, and like I said, I just don't think I think everybody's going to – it's not – I mean, I just think everybody's going to be in that boat at some point in time.
You're right. Do you like –
yeah. I don't know.
Like the idea of – do you like the idea of rotating it every year, though, instead of every two?
I don't know, because I honestly think that creates just more problems in the scheduling, to be honest with you. They need to have some kind of format where it rolls differently every year, in my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying that'll fix it, but it seems like if you do it more than 1 year in a row and you're in one of those teams that have an easy schedule or a hard schedule, then you're just stuck with it. I think it would be more fair if it came up differently year to year.
I agree.
But I don't know how you're going. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, like I said, I don't think they know the answer. They would have already done it. I just don't think they really know the answer.
I agree with you.
All right, guys, y'all have a good night and stay safe.
Thanks, JB. Appreciate you, man. Purple says schedule's only easier next year because we're playing teams with new quarterbacks. Yeah, but then what about the next year? It should set up perfectly for OU based off the schedule. Everyone's saying Texas has easies because you got Mississippi State, Arkansas, Vanderbilt. That's 3 of your games.
Correct.
Those three should not be on a schedule together, in my opinion.
But see, how do you balance that for everyone is the question. You're dealing with 16 unique schedules.
Okay, but Vanderbilt and Mississippi State will never be much of anything, correct?
Probably not, but
so you can't have all those teams on the same schedule.
I think there's always going to be one schedule that kind of gets stuck with a combination of those teams, or maybe even every now and then all of those teams. I think that's just part of it. And yeah, you can expand it even more than that. It's into even more difficulties with scheduling.
Well, and here's the thing that no one really talks about with OU. OU had a brutal schedule. It could have been way worse because Auburn isn't any good. They got lucky. Auburn isn't any good.
Yeah.
Auburn's usually pretty good. So
and maybe they would have, Daniel. I wouldn't be shocked by that.
Daniel says they would have. They probably would have.
Real quick, if they went to 9 games, I would be interested to see if they would move away from requiring a P4 non-con opponent, because in that case, I think you would almost have to look about scheduling. If you do schedule a power forward, just your low level of a Houston or somebody like that, and then look into maybe 3 G5 opponents for the rest of your schedule to try to make it a little bit easier, and maybe even one, Kennesaw State, Daniel, something like that. One guaranteed win or one FCS opponent, something like that.
Shoot, at this point, you want to make more money, whatever these teams, just play 12 conference games and call it good.
Oh, I know. Exactly.
Play them
I'm
all.
all
The
for it.
issue
Play them
is
all, man.
it's not fair for the SEC. Is you're going to be punished.
I know. I'm just saying.
That's the issue when you look at it in the grand scheme of things. And I think what really needs to happen, regardless, is there needs to be some sort of, and again, like with the scheduling, I don't know how you do it. There needs to be some sort of consensus amongst the four power conferences about our schedules are going to be this. Everyone's playing the same amount of games. If you're going to require a power four opponent in a non-con, everyone has to require it to try to make it as balanced as possible. It's not going to be. It's always going to be more difficult in the SEC and in the Big Ten than it is in the Big 12 and the ACC, but it does provide a little bit more, in my opinion, stability of not making it too easy for the two lesser Power Four conferences.
Hey, but didn't the Big Ten set up their good teams for success last year?
They did.
They did.
They did.
So
That's
they
smart.
did
It's
it.
smart, Jay,
I
and they
mean-
won a natty. They won a natty. And had 3 in the playoff. Hey.
Sooner Thrawn, you are correct.
Yeah,
It was Sooner Scoop George Stoya put out the article about it, and it was the largest portion of revenue Oklahoma's had profit since 2018. So not much.
not
in
thanks to
terms of
basketball.
it, but yeah, basketball, some of the numbers there were pretty
Did it
bad.
break it down by sport?
Not every sport.
Basketball was down about 2.3 million tickets.
Yeah, it was.
That's because
that's down majorly.
That's because they had to use 2.3 million to pay a couple players, probably.
Separate money, man.
I agree, Joe. The Michigan game is going to set the tone, but here's the deal, unfortunately. Even if OU goes out and wins that game, there's going to be a lot of people still, including me probably, just wondering until you get an SEC play, depending on how that game goes.
Purple Orca. How did
Georgia had a brutal schedule?
Yeah, how did they protect Georgia? They played Alabama, Texas, Tennessee, Ole Miss, all in the matter of a few weeks.
Yeah, they had a tough.
I mean, that's about as hard of a schedule as you can get in terms of top heavy. I mean, if you want to say that they got some of the bottom feeders of the conference on the schedule as well, yeah, they did, but they also had a tough schedule. I wouldn't say that they did them any favors, and Kirby Smart was pretty upset with that and any chance he had to air his grievances over that.
I don't think the issue with the schedule in the SEC is the teams you play at the top. I think there's always going to be good teams you play. I think it's the gimmies, so-called gimmies.
I don't think there is really gimmies.
Mississippi State.
Yeah, there's some gimmies.
There
right now.
is, but there really isn't, and I think it can also change on a dime. Again, I don't know how you balance it. I really don't.
And
I don't think you can.
I agree with KB when he called in. I agree with him when he said it's going to cycle. And there's going to be a year or two down the road that Texas is going to have a massively brutal schedule, and OU will have a little easier schedule. You would think it's got to cycle through. I just think it's going to have to, the way they're doing it right now.
I'm going to say this. I see LSU fan on here too. Check out the fan stop at thefanstop.com. Even if you're an LSU fan, they have an LSU Shirt of the Month club. You can sign up. You can even use our code SURGE and get 10% off your first 3 months. Sign up for the Shirt of the Month club. You get a new shirt sent to your house every single month. Different design, different colors, all throughout. Great things. But in order to get that St. Patty's Day special shirt, Sooner fans, you've got to sign up for the Shirt of the Month club by February 20th. You only got a couple more days. So get on the fanstop.com.
And I think that's the other thing is you can't assume everyone's going to be bad.
Or good, for that matter.
Well, yeah,
but there are some you can pretty much bank on.
What you could have said, a lot of people might have said OU. They thought OU was going to be.
I agree.
So you can't bank on it. You can't bank on it either way, I don't think. You just never know, especially with the portal. You never know from year to year what you're getting on some of these.
There is more parity in college football than there ever was before. You can completely change your roster in 1 year. It's no longer a 3 to 4 year cycle of having to recruit, develop, turn that into stars, all of that. I mean, you can go get them instantly. There's thousands of players in the portal every single year. If you have a good NIL program, you can compete for basically any player in the country at any given point in time. And you can turn it around from maybe a 1-win conference season to a 7-win conference season out of 8 games in the matter of 1 year. And vice versa. If you get decimated by the portal or draft or whatever it is, it could go the opposite way as well.
Hey, I got a question. I see the name in here, Missouri. Just a question for you guys. Did Missouri miss their window to make the playoff?
I think they might have, man.
I think they might have too.
Luther Burdens are not a.
I mean, that was their year. Looking at their schedule, that was the year.
Yeah, that was their. The year before they would have been in the playoffs if it was a 12-team format.
Correct.
And then last year was really that kind of perfect window, which they had injuries. I mean, Brady Cook got injured as well, but yeah, I think they did miss out on their window.
In purple, I am shocked by this that both those games are still happening.
It's hard to cancel them, man.
I know.
It's kind of I mean, you can do it, but then it's also like, who are you going to call? Are you going to, I mean, you can't call Ghostbusters. Like, who are you going to call to get another team to fill that missed game? It's just a tough thing to do.
I did not watch it, but there's a rematch apparently going to be Thursday night in Boston.
Hey, both of the T'Chucks are injured right now.
Oh, really?
Austin Matthews did not play tonight as well. So if USA were without those 3 players, I don't think there's any way they win. But it was a great game. This 4 Nations is, you want to talk about how to do All-Star Week right.
Yeah.
Look at the NHL with what they're doing. MLB also does great.
But they do a big incentive for it, so it's great.
Yeah, it's great to, like, you're playing for your country. I think that's one of, especially sports continue to go more international compared to what they used to be. Like in basketball, that would fix the NBA All-Star game. Look at how much these guys cared about the Olympics a few months ago. I mean, there's a documentary coming out about Team USA. KD got extremely emotional in an interview.
Kevin Durant?
Playing for Team USA. So I think that would get you competitive basketball if you want to try to fix the NBA All-Star game, is you have it set up somewhere kind of like how the NHL is doing it. I don't know how you would do it in the NBA, but you figure it out.
Well,
can't be worse than what last night was.
The NBA, if you want to do All-Star Weekend, that's fine. You just can't play a game on Sunday. You can do all the other stuff. The slam dunk, the 3-point, come up with some other skill stuff. Do not play the game. It's bad. It's bad.
Yesterday was probably the worst, I think, because it was literally no basketball.
Tell me this, Hunter.
3 hours and you had 40 point games. That was your All-Star game.
Hey,
it was just not good.
Yeah, a couple of things. We talked about him earlier on in the show. A lot of people seem to like him out of high school, so we'll see what he does. And then, hey, thanks for the kind words, Insured by Big. Glad you're able to join tonight. Hey, the thing is, though, you see better competition from these NBA players in the offseason in pickup games on some random court than you do at the All-Star game. Why is that? Because it's off season?
I don't know. I don't know the answer for why they care more about pro-amps than they do about the NBA All-Star game.
Put some money into it.
Well, they've done that, and that still hasn't worked. I mean, the last few years they were trying to do money. They also shouldn't. I don't think they should have went away from East West. I think that was a
I didn't like what they did
to draft and all that stuff. And then this year, I was excited for it. I thought, okay, this is something different, getting more people to play. And then I think Dylan Buckingham from K4 in Oklahoma City tweeted it about like with J-Dub. He lost his first game, so you don't see him the rest of the night. Like that's some parts of the All-Star game that people like is the young guys getting their first opportunity. You're kind of taking that away if they lose their first game.
Well, I got a great idea. You want to know the answer to the All-Star game and how to fix it? I'm going to tell you right now. So
get rid of it?
No, get your listening ears on, everybody. This just came to me right now, like literally. And I thought, wow, this would be a great idea. Here you go. You go by position and you play one-on-one. You play Shea versus another great guard. No, listen, and it's worth money. One-on-one, mano-y-mano.
I think 3-on-3 would be better.
No, one-on-one, mano-y-mano, man.
Okay.
Would that not be great TV?
I mean, it would be better than a night ago.
Hunter, nobody wants to lose one-on-one.
Well, and then how do you determine the overall winner, Jay?
Well, I guess you'd have to do that by position, Hunter, or unless you
five winners,
or you just go guard versus center and see what happens.
See what happens.
I think it'd be pretty cool. I have a little bracket one-on-one challenge.
I like the in-season tournament. I like that part of it, of competitive basketball early on in the schedule. I would even like to see them expand that to where it's not just the first couple months, but it goes a little bit up until the All-Star break, almost.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the in-season tournament. I'm with Joe.
I like that it gets guys that normally don't play to play.
Now this is interesting. Like baseball used to do, or do they still do it with the home field? They don't do it anymore.
I don't think they do, because if that was the case, the NL wouldn't have had home field for, I mean, almost a decade. They couldn't beat the AL for like 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's been fun tonight, guys and gals. What day? It stayed Monday. Is it only Monday?
Long week. Winter weather ahead. So
winter weather. It's going to be bad. Yeah. So hope everybody has a good Tuesday. Stay warm wherever you're at. Stay safe if you're on the roads. If not, enjoy the time at home with family, whatever you're going to be doing. If you're not working, if you're working from home, whatever it is. Some of you may not even live in a bad area with weather. You may be 60, 70 degrees. So appreciate everybody joining us tonight. Have a great night and a good day tomorrow. We will talk to you tomorrow night at 9:30. See you then.